And we're live. It is Friday, February 10th.
Yay.
Second Friday in February already. Wow. I guess, does that mean we're technically halfway through February? We're not quite, but we're 2 Fridays in.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah. Hello,
Crazy.
everyone. How's it going so far?
Good morning. Yeah, going well. As always, very happy it's Friday.
Yes, indeed. Friday land, as Brandon just said in the chat. We have Joe Workman and Himanshu with us, Himanshu Sharma with us today, and they are going to be talking product. So we've got some fun things planned. Joe, Himanshu, anything fun planned for the weekend?
Skiing.
Oh, that's fun.
And I'm going for an hiking. So it's a nice weather. Yeah.
Very nice.
Very
Well,
adventurous.
I'm planning for, since it's nice weather today, we're planning for ice cream. Every Friday, my kids and I go to the local ice cream place and get our 2 scoops or 3 scoops or whatever it is on our ice cream cones. It's a Friday thing. Even when it was 40 degrees last Friday, we still went and got it. But at least today it's going to be, I don't know, in the 60s or maybe 70 degrees. So at least it'll be more closely ice cream weather, I guess. What about you, Alexa?
Yeah, not too much. I am headed to Charlotte tomorrow, which will be fun. My friends and I are just headed up there for, the food, and we'll just kind of bop around. But yeah, excited to, get out of Greenville for a little bit.
Awesome. Rob's saying in the chat that he's afraid of doing some Looney Tunes thing with skiing where he ends up in a huge snowball rolling downhill.
That would be me as well. So
Yeah, I'm more afraid of the Looney Tunes ones where you like end up spread eagled hitting a tree, like just
yeah,
smack it in your face. That would be me.
I stick to the snow tubing. It's more my speed.
We used to do in Missouri, we would do like the downhill on just the little sleds or the
Yeah.
little trash can lids
I
type
was gonna say,
sledding.
in Greenville, yeah, we stick to the trash can lids for sure.
Oh my goodness. Rob saying, so for people on YouTube that for later on they won't be able to see the chat. Rob says, real story. As a kid, I lost brakes on my bike, bailed and face planted midair into a telephone pole, straight up Daffy Duck. Ouch, Rob. I don't want to laugh, but you did mention Daffy Duck, so it's kind of funny, but ow, you poor thing. When I was a kid, we had a water slide in our backyard. Believe it or not. So my dad worked for a company that they owned a water park, and a tornado hit the one in Texas and they brought back a bunch of pieces, and he got a few pieces of a water slide and put them together in a backyard. We had this nice big slope, but unfortunately it was in front of the well pump. And my brother and cousin got the bright idea to put part of a plastic tablecloth under me. And those are when they got wet, it would make you go down the water slide very, very fast. So they got the bright idea to slide that under me right as I got on to go down. I didn't want to go super fast, but they thought it would be funny. And I went so fast that I went all the way down, flew off the end of the water slide and hit the well pump, which stuck up out of the ground about 3 feet or so, and hit it like spread eagled, like just right on it. And yeah, that's kind of the same Daffy Duck thing, Rob. And I think I'm still traumatized from that. That hurt. That hurt a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't want to do that on skiing or anything else again. So I try to avoid things that are going to send me flying into things. And yes, Brandon, it was painful. I was just a little kid too, so I cried a lot. Yeah, Nathan's saying like Matt Mortigan in Willow. Yeah, you're right. I'd forgotten about that. So let me go back and watch that. I don't hear good reviews about the new Willow, but maybe I'll go back and watch the old one. So on to today's agenda.
Got a little sidetracked.
It's a little more chit-chatty than normal, but that's all right. We have some good comments in the chat. Rob saying tornado didn't give us pieces of a water slide. The whole slide was sitting in my friend's backyard, small pond slide, but still we used it. Yeah. We had some interesting things come into our possession by weird things happening due to weather. Just from amusement, my dad working with amusement parks and things. So we are going to, of course, do our usual community update, meetups. The product stuff is actually going to be directly done by Himanshu and Joe. Himanshu is going to talk about our password manager, and Joe's going to talk about the new PowerShell function. And then for IT news this week, I'm actually going to go back to what I had pulled for last week because we didn't actually get to talk about it. And if we have time, we'll talk about it. If not, well, no big deal. Alexa had already put the links in the community last week, but I thought we'd have some fun talking about a couple things. So with that, we've got a few different things going on in the community. Sean, again, he's really put in a lot of scripts recently, which has been great. He put in one about managing Lenovo BIOS settings remotely. Chris Tate, he is our resident MSP person, expert. He posts in the MSP discussion groups. If you're not already reading in there, we know we've got several people who work for MSP, so you should be in there chit-chatting along with him. He's talking about having and building your tech tribe via peer groups, which, something that we're doing with our meetups. So go read that and check it out and chime in. JC David has posted our February jump shots, our regular jump shot and the one for MSPs. It's basically our technical newsletter where we're talking about what's going on in the product and things like that. So go check out both of those. And I posted a quick update in the community news blog about some navigation changes. So I've added a leadership category and moved careers under that because we're going to be making some more updates soon. We're going to be adding a blog from our content team that's going to be really cool, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Pam and some others writing some blogs directly for the community, and that's going to be coming soon. So watch for some more navigation changes and updates. I will continue to post about them as they come up, but just letting you know that as things move around, you will see those move around. I'm also probably going to consolidate some boards really soon, some that aren't being used quite as much, maybe combine hardware and software and some other things like that. I've asked about those in the lobby to see if anyone has any suggestions or cares one way or the other. I know Rob responded to that. I haven't seen many other inputs on that, which is fine. If you don't care one way or the other, then I'm just going to go ahead and move them together. If you have a strong opinion, please go contribute to that. I'll go find the link and drop it in the chat. And with that, I will hand it over to Alexa and let her talk about meetups, or you can talk about whatever has been going on in the chat here because it's moving right along.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, it just got me thinking about all the times all the things that I've sledded on that were not meant to be sledded on. So anyway, yeah. So meetups, we have all of the February meetups scheduled and published on the meetup platform, which I will drop the link to in the chat, but check it out. We've got 5 going on this month. We have the Tel Aviv meetup happening actually on Monday, and we're super excited. I've mentioned before, but if you're joining us for the first time, we planned that one around the Our Crowd event in Jerusalem. So we'll have actually a lot of our executives in town. We'll have Raj, our CEO, and Greg, our CSO. So it's going to be really cool. We also have CEOs from other Israeli companies who will be there, and they're going to do a little fireside chat panel. So if you'll be in the area for either Our Crowd or you're in Tel Aviv, that'll be a really good one. And we have a lot of people registered. So Really excited about that on Monday. And then the remaining meetups are all towards the end of this month. So we've got Raleigh happening on the 21st with Becky. And then we've got Chicago on the 22nd with Pam and Shuba. DC will be Monday the 27th, of course, with Tom Bridge. And then we've got Denver, which will be on the 28th with Chase Doling, who's been on the show a few times, as well as Scott Reed. So it's going to be a good time. We're back to in person this month. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. We're talking about identity transformation. So if you were on a few weeks ago when we had Rajan, our CEO, he talked a lot about that. It's really, something he's focused on. So we're just going to start the conversation around that. So yeah, we're excited. And I said I would drop the link and I didn't. So here we go.
Well, I'll tell you, if you're close enough to Denver to drop in on that one, Scott and Chase are really cool and fun to hang out with. I got a chance to hang out with them during our all company meeting, and they're pretty cool dudes. And so you should definitely take the time to talk anything around IT, not just JumpCloud, but just technical stuff with them because they're fun to hang out with. And of course, so's Tom in DC. I mean, he's don't tell anyone this, but he's one of my favorite people at JumpCloud. Shh.
What?
One of.
He's like the least popular guy, so
yeah, nobody likes him.
That's an unpopular opinion.
Yeah, nobody likes him. Don't tell him I said that either. Anyway, I know, Rob, I had a chance to acquire some Mountain Dew Code Red, and I really wanted it, but it was in Chicago, and I'm in Raleigh, and it's kind of a long drive because I couldn't fly because then I wouldn't be able to take it on the plane because large amounts of liquid. They don't have it here. I just I'm SOL. So with that, we are going to jump into product news because we've got two really great updates. And I do believe, Himanshu, you were going to talk about Password Manager and the recent feature updates and maybe even give us a little demo. Is that right?
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Becky. Let me share my screen. Okay. All right. So I'm going to talk about Password Manager enhancements on admin portal, on Password Manager extension, as well as on the desktop app. So what we have released in month of January and what we are going to release in Feb, I'm just going to go over those on high level, and then there is going to be a live demo. So the agenda for today, I'm going to talk about the admin portal. We introduced a password health score feature. So as an admin, you can see the password health score there. Then there's a centralized vault visibility on org level, on user level, as well as on the folder level. And then there are activity logs. As an administrator, you will be able to see and Password Manager activity logs now. And then there are some updates on desktop app, as well as on the extension. So now when you're importing data from any other third-party vendor to JumpCloud Password Manager, and if you have a folder structure, we are going to map that and make sure that the import process is much more convenient and you don't have to redo a lot of things once you import the data. Then we are going to introduce password history and reset password manager pin. So I'm going to go over that in detail. First one is about password health score. So now on Password Manager overview page, you're going to see these three wizards which says weak, reused, old, and password health of your org. So if any of the user is using a weak password, which can be some common password, for example, test1234, or you can just say 12345, like these numbers, and they are not mixing the numbers, so everything is alphabetical. There's no numbers there, no special characters there. So our backend is going to identify that and mark that as a weak password and inform the administrator so that administrator can inform the user so they can update their password. Reuse passwords are, again, you do not want to continue reusing your password for multiple accounts. And that's where you are going to have a section called reuse password. You click on it, you will be able to see which users are using and contact them. Similar with the old password. Any password which is you want to make sure you're changing your password after 90 days. So if your password is 90 days and older, then you will get notified as an old password, similar thing. So this will give a visibility to administrator that, okay, there's an action required in the org. One of the user has either weak, old, or reuse password. That is going to secure your password manager vault. The next one is about the better visibility of the vault. So now on admin portal, you can see under specific folder what kind of accounts are available there, what are the second factor authentication, secure note, identities. So all that detailed information is available on one view now. You don't have to go to a desktop app and look through all different places. So everything is available just on an admin portal. So there are more events we added there. This is a phase one of the event. Phase two is going to release next week. So now anybody is creating an account, removing a user from the folder, removing the folder, adding the folder, all those different activities, you will be able to see that as an administrator, what is happening there. And we make sure that these logs and these events are very easy to track. So we put it at different places, which I will go cover in my live demo. And yeah, so this is all about, monitoring your org activities related to Password Manager. So desktop app and Password Manager extension. In the latest version of desktop password manager application, which is 1.244, now there's an option available to import data from CSV file or from any other third-party password manager vendor. And during this import, as you see on the screenshot, you will have options to create a folder. If the folder doesn't exist, if the folder is already there, you can just map it with the existing folder. This is something is going to release by end of Feb. This is about now on desktop application, you are going to have an option called password history, where you can see all the previous passwords you have for the specific site, on which date you created them. And if you want to restore, let's say you use something last year and there's a button there where you can restore the same password and make it as an existing password. That option is also there. Reset pin. This is like one of the feature which there's a lot of customers are asking for, and we are introducing this now. That, for example, if you forget your password manager pin, you can click on the reset pin. This is a self restore of the pin. You will receive an email with the verification code. The email which is linked to this account. Enter the verification code there, and then you can create your new pin. This is where you don't have to, like today, you have to contact the administrator perform reactivation and steps, and then the whole process go. Now we eliminate that extra step there, submitting a ticket to IT admin. Now it's a self reset pin flow for a user. And you definitely, as an administrator, you're going to see in activities that, okay, a specific user has resetted the pin on the device. So now that's demo time. So let me just move to my admin portal. So this is the overview page. As most of you guys are already aware of it, there are this wizard, you click on it. What are the shared folders you have? Once you click, you have a list of folders there. I'll go back, and which group has enrolled. So you can see I have a 6 group. Out of 6, these 3 groups have enrolled in Password Manager. Then there's a weak password and all password option. So I have a 1 weak password there. And then after that, there's a detailed information. So in my org, I have two users who are using desktop app and one user who's using mobile app. So I have like only 3 users there. There's a detailed information. You can click on it and you will see what are those 2 users who are using this. And it tells you the password health of the user. This is strong, this is weak. And then at the bottom, there's a log options there where you can see all the activities related to Password Manager. Like today morning, I removed one folder, so that activity is available there. Once you click on activity log, it's going to redirect you to directory insight page, and it is going to already pre-selected the Password Manager so that you don't have to go and drop down and do all kind of filters there, and you can see all the activities there. This is on org level. If I go back on Password Manager, click on users, I'm going to select this user, for example, click on logs. This is on user level. And once I click on activity log, it is going to select a user called Himanshu, and it's going to make sure that all the activities related to this user we have is going to be available there. That make admin life much more easy rather than creating a different folder, selecting a different groups. You can just go to, you're already looking into the user vault, like what, okay, there's a weak password, what are the other action items need to be taken. Then you can just click on this log button there. Then we added this a vault UI, like you can see this user has 28 password there. He has one secure note. And so in terms of password, you will be able to see what is the nickname or username of that and the URL as well. But there is no way that your administrator will know what is the password you configured for this, because these are personal account, and you do not want to share your password information with your administrator, so they will never know what are the password for all these accounts there. Now the next thing, so we talk about on the org level, the user level, and now this is on the folder level. So I have this folder called marketing. So this is for the marketing team. There are 2 people who has access to this folder, and then the password health for the folder. Go there. So this folder has just 3 accounts. When I click on user with access, so that's where I can see what are the users who have access to this folder and what are their access levels are. So you can configure that as well. So folder member is something they can just use those accounts. They cannot view the password, no copy paste, but they can, whenever they try to log into the site, they can use a password manager to autofill the username and password. Then there's a folder manager, which is a super admin of the folder. This person can make any changes related to items, related to user list, add user, remove user. And then there's an item manager who has control only on the items, such as this particular item manager can add password, remove password, or add a 2FA, or add a secure note, but this particular person won't be able to make any changes related to a user. They won't be able to remove or add a user to the folder. And now these activities are specific to, I click on it, you will see that it selected the folder, shared folder, and you will only see activities related to just that one folder there. And next thing is about import. So let me go to my, now there's an option there called import items. On desktop application, same option is available if I go to my browser extension. Let me just unlock this guy. And I click on Start Now, I can perform the import from browser as well. So I'm going to use a desktop application. Now here is So there are options. Do you want to import passwords, payment card, or secure note? I'm going to select passwords, click next. And then there are all these different options available from which source you're going to import the data. So for today's demonstration, I'm using a CSV file. Click next. I'm going to copy the CSV file here. Next. And now this tells me, okay, this particular CSV file has these headers files, nickname, website, username, password, folders. Everything looks good to me. I'm going to click next. Now, here you see that, okay, there's a folder called sales in my CSV file. And I'm going to go to see what I have here. I already have a folder called sales. So what it is going to do, it's going to copy whatever the content or the accounts or the items available in sales folder and exactly copy that into or import that into the sales folders which already exist in JumpCloud Password Manager. Now there's a folder called dev and that folder is not available. So I'm going to click on and call it as a create a folder. Same thing for IT team, create a folder, and for contractor. And then for advertisement, I'm just going to say, you know what, don't create anything, just move that into the personal folder. Now click next. And so everything looks good. You see this green checkbox there. Looks like import is going to work perfectly. Click import. So 5 item has been imported. Click OK. Now I'm going to come back on my admin portal. You see, earlier I had only 3 shared folder, demo, marketing, and sales. But now I have a contractor, dev, and IT team. And once I click there, so IT team has a one account that is available here. And that has access to one user because this is the user we were using when we were importing. And this user has the access privileges there. Now I'm going to go back on overview. Since we did all this import, there are these activities which are telling me that, okay, this user has import a data into the what level. Are they folders? Are they accounts? So all that detailed information is available here. This is going to make users' life much more easy while they are importing data from any other password manager. And yeah, that's all I have. So Becky.
Yeah, we had some questions for you.
Mhm.
So Stuart was asking what the let's see, question on fixing the Windows install command script, because I think he was saying that he had some trouble with that.
Yes, yeah. So I'm working with the engineering team. I haven't got any ETA date for that. They're looking into it. There are a couple of options available, and we want to make sure, we come up with the best solution there. And uh, as soon as I have any feedback from them, I will share with Scott. Yeah.
Okay, great. Next one from Dennis. Is there a KB article on migrating LastPass Enterprise to JumpCloud Password Manager?
Yes. So I believe that is going to be released next week. Yes, we are working on that. Yes.
Okay. So keep an eye out, Dennis, and we'll try to post that when that comes available. I'll try to remember to put it in the Password Manager channel on the lounge when that comes out.
Mhm.
Another question from a couple from Brandon. One is, are we able to exempt passwords from the 90-day renewal? We have some vendors who do not allow for this. So we've got some people that need to rotate every 90 days and some that are, kind of not supposed to.
As of today, we have this default option there, but that is something I will take that as a feature request, and I will see if we can make that as configurable. Yes.
Great. And another one, are we able to force people to take action on weak passwords or only notify?
In phase one, this is about only notifying administrator. So administrator will reach out and ping to them. But there are a few requests we got, which is about taking action that you can send a direct email to a user, like the way we send an invitation email from the admin portal, rather than going and writing an email and so, yeah. But this is something in future, yes, we have.
Any plans to configure that to where you could say not only notifying, but actually forcing them to, like, not just emailing them, but saying, you have a certain amount of time to change this, or we're going to make you change it, or anything like that?
We don't have anything like that on the roadmap yet, but that's a good feature, and um, I will add that into our backlog, and we will work on it and see. Yeah, that's a
Okay.
good.
If anybody has any, further suggestions on that part of it, please let us know. So, all right, that looks like all the questions we have there. But if y'all think of something else, please feel free to put in feature requests for those, because Himanshu is definitely ready to hear more and get your feedback. Stuart says thanks for the demo. Well, yeah.
Thank you.
Himanshu has said he wants to actually come do this regularly. So we want to get the word out on all the things that are going on with Password Manager. So I think expect to see him back maybe next month, or maybe
Yes.
sooner than that if we have some major stuff going on. So
Mhm.
stay tuned. Thank you for that, Himanshu. And now, Joe, you're going to talk about PowerShell, right? Got some new stuff going on in PowerShell?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. I just have a medium short demo to go through today. Let me just start by sharing my screen. And yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about searching for apps across all your devices. So to start, where can you get this data in the JumpCloud console? On any of your devices, under the Details tabs, you have access to view the applications installed on a device under the Details and Applications if you're on Mac, Programs if you're on Windows, and then Linux packages if you're on Linux. So the SA team wanted to make that a little bit more streamlined for folks who are going to be running reports. And what we came up with was a new PowerShell function that allows you to search across all your apps for specific applications or specific OS, and drill down and run reports and see what versions or what systems in your organization have X software and Y version. So I'll jump into the demo real quick. This is available on the new PowerShell module. So if you just run connect.jc online, dump in your API key, it should auto update. But the PowerShell module has a new function in it called get JC system app. And if I wanted to look across all my devices and figure out, hey, who has Google Chrome installed, I could run this command and it would return the results for all my systems that have Google Chrome. And I could dump this into a CSV, and I could maybe go through and say, oh, some of these devices, they're a little bit out of date. I need to go ahead and update them. And I could use that for, say, like a command, or I could dump all these systems into a system group, which I can do a demo of. But quickly, I want to talk about some of these other parameters that are in this function. Let me hide this thing so we could see. So you can also sort by individual systems if you want. So if you have like some system and you want to just search that one system for a program, Yep, you can do that, or you can search by system OS, like Windows, and that'll return Windows results. So the coolest thing about this is that as admins, we kind of need to know what is running on all of our devices. So I wanted to just take this and look at it through a CSV. I can use PowerShell's native commandlets to do that. The first one, if we pipe the output of getJC system app into convert to CSV, this will convert the list into something that's CSV readable. And I can always dump the file using out file. Let's call this Chrome report. Oh, can I squash the screen so you can see the bottom? Yes, I apologize. Is that better, Jonathan?
Just a little bit more because our videos are
our
covering it
screens
up.
are there. Yeah, okay. There we go. That should be better. So I can dump this out to a file. Just call this like, put this here. We'll call this like Chrome report.csv. And then if I open my, oops, Chrome report.csv. Then I can take a look at all the individual Chrome applications that were found in my Windows orgs, the versions, and then there should be a system ID that corresponds to individual systems. So if I wanted to figure out, okay, who doesn't have version 107, I could simply just delete these two from this CSV and create a system group based on that data. We wrote a post in the community to detail steps of going through that. So using the output of getJC system app and creating a device group, something that's totally possible. And we can step through it if that's what everyone wants to see demo today. I know like PowerShell demos can be a little bit dry, so I'm just kind of trying to do the high level and then dive deep if people want to see it. But at a high level, that's what the getJC system app allows admins to do. But there is one caveat, which is that the search for names is case sensitive. So you'll see here if I search for something like Slack, it's not going to return any results. And why is that? Well, the API that we're using to reference these objects in the individual details tab is limited to two filter types, equals exactly and in. And because lowercase Slack is not equal exactly to anything in our app list, it's not going to bring in any results. I know for a fact if I type capital S Slack, I have Slack installed on at least one device. But how would you as an admin figure that out? We added an additional parameter to this function to help you do that. And it's just as simple as typing search. This parameter is less performant than doing an exact case-sensitive search. And here's why. I'm going to let this run. This search is going to query all of my systems and search for a match under the name property that is like Slack case insensitive. So we're getting way more data when we're doing this search parameter. And here you can see that more than just Slack is returned. I've got things called Slack helper GPU, Slack helper renderer .app, Slack helper, Slack. And so if I was an admin with a number of devices, one thing I might do is pick out an individual device ID that I know had Slack or some application on it that I was looking to query. and I'd specify with that the search parameter. So system ID, I can dump in any system ID. You can also do it by system OS. So if you know you want to search things by Windows, Mac, or Linux packages, you could do that. I'll demo Linux packages in just one moment. But if I search by just one system, obviously the results are returned much faster. So we offered this parameter because we know it'll help people, but I want to mention that the caveat is that it's much less performant than just doing an exact name search like Slack that should return results almost immediately. We can do this for system OS. Let's do Linux, and then let's do search. If I wanted to figure out, it's kind of a lame example, but what curl binary I had on all my Linux devices, I could go in and see, okay, yep, they're all running this version, which is the default version. But that's kind of at a high level how we would use that search parameter. So if you're looking to find apps and you don't necessarily know what the exact name is of that app, you can use that search parameter to dive in and identify what those app names are using a case-insensitive search. So to kind of recap, before I go into any other more detailed examples, the getJC system app function allows you to type in the name of something. It allows you to search by version as well. So if I knew I wanted to search for a specific version of Chrome, I could specify that to figure out which devices have that exact version. It allows you to search by system OS, which if you tab includes Linux, Mac, and Windows, your 3 options, or individual system IDs. But just system ID, one parameter. Lastly, of course, if you want to search, you can perform that. You can perform that search, but that case-insensitive search is not quite as quick. Oops, I don't need to specify version. So I think I'll dive in and just do the quick group demo real quick.
There is one question, Joe, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before you jump into that, Kelly wanted to know if there's a command that will hide, block, or ignore Venture on their Macs. They're actually past the 90-day window for the MDM profile, and they have some endpoints that shouldn't get updated. And right now, she thinks their only option is to tell people not to and hope for the best, but that's not a very good option. So they're kind of in that limbo where it has to do with the major minor upgrades and pushing out the updates, and now it's been 90 days. Is there anything to kind of block it from even showing up so that for certain systems so they can just keep people from upgrading? And Kelly, correct me in the comments if I'm looking at across several of your comments to make sure I got everything, and hopefully I didn't butcher that too much.
Yeah, there should be. Off the top of my head, I don't know exactly what that is.
Might have to research it a little bit or something.
Yeah, there should be a way to do that. I think through an MDM profile, but it's been a moment since I've dug deep there and done that.
Well, yeah, the MDM profile, I think is only blocking it for 90 days, and it had to do with giving time for 90 days past Ventura, and then it doesn't block it any longer. And so, but they still need to hold off on some of their endpoints past that 90 days. So I'm not sure if on the MDM profile you can push it past that.
Yeah, I mean, there's, I think, a number of ways you could probably figure out a workaround. I know one, if you're not running as administrator, they can't upgrade. Two, communication is always key. if you communicate that there's some critical piece of Mac application that will not work with your current company load set, then that would be one piece of information to share keenly with your customers, or your end users, I should say. I'm always a big proponent of communication first, and then like blocking methods second. But off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you exactly the answer to that.
Okay. Kelly, I will talk to Tom and maybe do a little bit more research and see if there's anything else that can be done. But answer right now is just not 100% sure. But thank you for that, Joe. If you could move your window back up higher on your screen, because we're blocking it again, and then go ahead and go into your group demo.
Okay. Yep. Switching gears back. So the quick demo I had for figuring out groups based on criteria from GetJC System App. There's a whole post about this on the community. Pebbles has linked to it. So you can take this in any number of directions. But the demo is this. If you know what devices have something, you can essentially figure out what devices are missing that application using kind of like an inverse, or a quick comparison of two different groups. So in this example, let's say we need to deploy Slack to all of our macOS devices. So to start, we could get a list of all of our macOS devices, because we need to know, first off, all of our devices. And we've used this example in this demo here, but if I go and run GetJC System App and figure out which devices have Slack, see it's one device out of our systems, which are Mac devices, 31. So the Slack variable basically contains a list of all macOS devices with Slack installed. So if we want to get the devices that don't have Slack installed, all we have to do is use a PowerShell commandlet called whereObject to compare the two different groups. And one thing I know about the two different groups is that systems._ID contains a list of IDs, and items from GetJC System App also contain a list of IDs. So all we have to do to figure out the devices that are missing Slack is run this command, which takes systems and compares it against the Slack group. And it says, give me a subset of that list where objects, where the object._ID, that's the system ID of our systems, are not in the Slack group. So if I had a number of groups in my Slack group, or a number of devices in my Slack group, our final list would be much shorter, because I only have one. We expect missing to only have 30 objects. So we'll count that in just a moment. Missing.count should be 30. So that's great. Now, if I just want to create a system group, all I have to do is define one. And this is probably going to throw an error saying I have it already. So give me 1 second. Let's do missing Slack 2. Great. And if I want to add these devices to that new group, all I have to do is run add.jc system group member and add all the devices from that missing group into that group. We'll go take a look at that. Device groups, Slack. macOS missing Slack 2, that's our device group. This should contain 30 devices of the macOS OS, all of which have not had Slack installed. So I could use this and assign commands or software management, install this as a VPP app, but I could quickly kind of define groups this way so you know exactly what systems need something. They have it, if they don't have the correct version. So that's really the power of GitJC system app at a high level. So I think that's kind of it for demos. I'll open it back up for questions.
I don't think I see any additional questions right now in the chat. So this is really awesome, though, Joe. Thank you so much for oh, let's see. Until I get the other method is a little slower, but I do appreciate having as a starting point, especially for MSP life. Sometimes we have to come in and get the lay of the land ourselves, and this helps a ton. So that's Kelly's response to that.
Kelly, one thing we want to publish shortly is an automation so you could run this across all your orgs in your MSP. Like the example being, if you know there's a 0-day on some specific piece of software, you might just want to know across all your orgs who has that version of software that's vulnerable. So be looking forward to that in the community. We'll post that soon. But it should be helpful for MSPs who want to know across all their orgs who has what.
Hey, Siri, remind me I owe Joe a beer. That's what Kelly said. She's like, awesome. So that's great.
Yeah.
That'll
if I can't answer your question about the Ventura thing, at least I can help you here.
Absolutely. I think that'll be great. Across orgs is going to be really important for people to have multiple customers. So that is great. We'll keep an eye on the chat. I don't see any other comments right now. So I think we still have about 8 minutes. We could jump into a little bit of IT news. Last week, I had pulled a headline about Twitter wanting to shut down their free API access as of yesterday. I actually did not check and see if they had officially done that. Been a little bit busy this week, but people were not reacting well to Twitter wanting to shut down their free API access because there were a lot of apps out there that use the API access, and it also has a huge data set that people use for studies and statistical analysis and all kinds of things. And it was interesting. People were saying throttle, don't revoke it. Barely enough notice for teams to react. Actually, not enough notice for teams to react. So places like Hootsuite and Buffer and things like that, they don't even know. Sprout Social, they don't even know how they're going to react to that, and people are going to shut down their free bots on Twitter. So just kind of waiting to see how that plays out and what's going to happen over in Twitterland. We still have a presence over there. We've kind of changed our tactics a little bit, but there's still people over there, so we're waiting to see what happens. But I don't know. I don't know if any of you all are still over there as much as before. But another thing you should be aware of is think twice before using Google to download software. This came via Ars Technica. What they're saying is, when you search for software via Google, it's always come with risk, but over the last few months, it's actually gotten a lot worse. Threat researchers are used to seeing a moderate flow of what they call malvertising via Google Ads. But over the past few days and weeks, researchers have witnessed a massive spike affecting numerous brands with multiple malware being advertised. This is definitely out of the norm. It's coming from numerous malware families, including Aurora Stealer, Iced ID, MetaStealer, Redline Stealer, Vidar, Formbook, and Xloader. So these malware families typically relied on phishing and malicious spam that attacked like Word documents with booby-trap macros, but Google Ads have become the go-to place, and they're disguised as legitimate downloads, and they'll impersonate things like Adobe Reader or GIMP or Teams, OBS, Slack, Thunderbird, things like that. So be super careful if you are downloading software from Googling it and then clicking on an ad. And it may be, if you haven't warned your users and they have the ability to install or download software onto their devices, you may want to warn them and give them a heads up that they should be super careful or only download officially sanctioned things. I know I've worked at places where we could only download from a specific library uh, that was managed by our IT team, and that was it. And other places, it's just like you can download apps that you need, but just be careful. So, um, David says Google is promoting malware. Guess I have to join the 2 other people who use Bing. I think it's just ads, David. So I think you still have to be careful. I mean, I don't know if they come up as often on Bing. I don't know if people are advertising the same on Bing just because Google's the um, most common one. But tell your users, Kelly says, puts on a short sleeve white shirt. Maybe you need a little white collar. Kelly, have you accepted DuckDuckGo as your personal search engine? I hope I gave that the gravity that it needed, Kelly, just for you. And one last one, because we have something else we want to move on to. NVIDIA has this new AI-powered software video feature called eye contact. It's a feature that will automatically maintains eye contact for you while on camera by estimating and aligning gaze. So no matter what you're doing, no matter where you're looking, you will maintain eye contact, pretty much unbroken eye contact with the camera. And if you're looking at me, I'm doing that right now. And I never look directly at the camera. I'm usually looking at whatever else I'm reading on screen. But even if I were to look away with this software, I would still be staring at you. And people are reporting that it's a little bit creepy.
Looks like Pam is confirming in the chat.
Yeah, it would be creepy, wouldn't it? I just it replaces your eyes in the video stream with software controlled simulated eyeballs that always stare directly into the camera, even if you're looking away in real life. I saw someone post an example of this on LinkedIn, and it was weird. They had it side by side, the person, their normal video and the video with the eye contact thing. And his eyes were going all over the place, but on the one video, it just kept coming back to the screen. And there's something about unbroken eye contact that is strange. I'm not even sure it blinked. I don't remember if it even blinked or not, but I don't think this is going to go over too well. In fact, somebody wrote, I too have always wanted streamers to maintain a terrifying level of unbroken eye contact while reading text that obviously isn't displayed inside their webcams. So yeah, how about that? Maybe I'll try it. Great. Steve says, great. I can finally nap without being called out for it. There you go. Pam. Yeah, Pam said stop. So it was creepy. Good. Intended things. Nathan says, great, further allowing employees to pay even less attention during meetings. I mean, that's my goal. But maybe it wouldn't show when I roll my eyes. That might be worth it. Because here we go again. So Kelly hosted a podcast called Greetings from the Uncanny Valley. So I feel pretty qualified to say hell to the no. No. All right. With that, we only have a little bit of time. And Alexa, I think you had an announcement.
Yes. Well, we are very excited about next week's episode. We're not going to say who the guest is, but let's just say he may have been on before.
And you might want to get your roasters ready. So just think about that and make sure you come back next week.
Yes.
And see what's in store. Stuart says Santa.
He got it.
Yeah.
We were in
Oh
Settle
my
now.
god. Yeah, I'm picturing Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Santa! And with
Yeah.
that, we are at time. So we look forward to seeing you next week. Enjoy your weekend, and thanks for being with us and being in the demos today. And hope you enjoyed. And we will see you again. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.